One of the main ideas behind it was to see how far I could integrate imagery with sound. So the basic starting point was to be working on the audio side of things in here, but also to be toing and froing between that and visual interpretation of it. Started off just seeing what kinds of imagery, if you like, the music was bringing to mind, and then trying to find a way of recreating that. So I ended up making an adaptation to some software which I started working on sort of 7 or 8 years ago for my live shows, but it's kind of been revised here and there since, and then started using it to do these visual interpretations. Quite a lot of the visual ideas in the show are sort of based on imagery from dreams. A couple of ideas behind the LED helmet. I mean, one of them was that I've always felt a bit uncomfortable as a performer, and particularly with the idea of being the centre of the attention and this cult of personality thing that springs up around musicians on stage. And that's one of the things I liked about when I started going raves in the early 90s, that the crowd wasn't really focused on the DJ. It was more kind of focused on itself and the music, and I found that really refreshing change to the experiences I'd had, early on playing with groups, where everyone was riveted on the band. At the same time, turned me into something other than a human being, if you like. I feel it's like a canvas, like a way of displaying images. Because these images are generated on the basis of what I see in my head when I listen to that music, it's also like a little window into my imagination, like low definition kind of image of what I've got going on in my head. Pretty important to me that the primary thing that happens is that the music and the presentation of it keeps developing, I think when you start focusing on other more worldly things, like turn it into a money-making venture or a statement designed to make you look cool, you just lose track and potentially lose the point of what you're doing. I don't think so many people start off doing that. It's those concerns creep in later on, and particularly I think if you get a lot of attention early on in your career, and I think some people panic and think, how am I going to carry on getting that attention? How am I going to keep that attention on me? How am I going to retain that status? For me, it's like, forget it. Just carry on, do what you want, because that's what got you there in the first place. Why not throw everything at experimenting as much as I can and just maximise that opportunity to try things out? I think it's odd to call it a responsibility because no one actually asked me to do it, no one says I should do it. However, I've got the freedom to try it, and the scope and the time. And I think if an artist has got those things at his or her fingertips, actually you are doing the world a disservice if you don't. I have this thing which, I don't know if you'd call it a recurring dream, but a dream about a perfect piece of music, which, exists somewhere in my archive, and I think, oh, I found it, found the piece, which unites everything I do, makes the, it's like a keystone, makes the whole thing make sense, because sometimes I do wander, and I look at what I've done, I think it doesn't make any sense. But there's this one piece which sums it up and links the whole thing together, makes it feel satisfying to me, and I wake up and think, what is that track? Where is it? And it's like, I sort of slowly realise it doesn't exist, But it acts as a if you like, a gravitational force. I want to make that piece. It's one of the strongest things that exerts creative pressure on me, if you like, just to try to make that piece that makes my work make sense.